brothers and sisters in Dhamma. Very good morning to all of you. Today, the Dhamma discussion would happen on the topic of Khanti. That's a considerable topic, a remarkable topic that we should have a deep understanding regarding the matter. The Buddha expected a morally good disciple and to utilize the human life as maximum as possible as. Human life always considered to be the center of all the beings, because this is the central point that you decide where to go. Whether you are going to underworld or hell, whether you are going to heaven or the higher states of the worlds with the high spirit. Whatever you perform in the human life, they will cause you to have a good state or good place. That's why the human life always becomes the decision-making life. Decision-making life. All those decisions or the conditions that you decide where to go after the death, they all will happen because of your morality, virtuous behaviors, and practice of good karma. Today, we bring your attention to such a topic that is very important in case of the development of our spiritual stages as a human being. Khanti. Khanti is the word in Buddha's language. We call it Pali. That is for tolerance. Tolerance is the meaning. In a sense, we can define it as patience or practice of patience. In a sense, we can understand that as forgiveness as well. There are some meaning in different senses that have gathered around the word Khanti. Around the word Khanti. Simply, if we define the term Khanti or the tolerance or patience in English, that is the ability to accept the problems, delays, sufferings without getting anger, annoyed, or anxious. Remember the word ability to accept or able to accept. When we use these two terms, ability or able, of course these two English terms derives from one root ability is the adjective of word, able is the adjective word that comes from the word ability. Ability and able both means the skills. The skills. Your skills. Your skills. Your abilities. Your attributes. They are talking about a certain type of quality that you have. An ability. The opposite is inability. Inability. So when you have the ability to accept problems, delays, sufferings without getting angry or annoyed or anxious, is it good for you? Do you think that is a good condition? Yes, in a life, if you have the ability to tolerate anything, that would be fine as a human being. Because this ability causes you to have a great happiness and to avoid different types of various issues, problems and problematic situations in a life. Could you understand? So this ability is very good. So Khanti means the ability to tolerate problems, delays, pains, sufferings and any difficult conditions or situations in a life. Some people cannot wait. Some say wait for a while. When they say wait for a while, what do they mean? Of course they mean practice patience. Stay for a while. That means we have to tolerate. We have to develop that ability. They expect that the ability we have to wait or tolerate or stay, that means there is a delay of something, we have to be patient in that case. So in English, the word tolerance and also the word patience both are utilized in order to demonstrate the meaning of the term Khanti in Pali. Patient. Several times I have noticed this example. Patient, when you hear the word patient, what do you imagine? What you can think of that? How many meanings does it have? From the audience I am asking. When we say patient, yes, our young girls, what do you think? How many meanings do you know about the word? When you go to the hospitals, what do you observe? Why do the people go to hospital? They go to take medical treatments, then how they are introduced? They are called patients. On the other hand, to ability to tolerate, that is also defined as patient. What is the difference between these two processes? These two meanings. Once you were warded in the hospital, so doctors will recommend different medical treatments. Sometimes you have to go for a surgery, and sometimes you will receive a handful tablets or number of tablets. When you imagine that, you may get confused and you will have a pain. Physically you may feel a pain. Mentally you may feel a pain. You feel suffer. You are suffering a lot when you are warded in a hospital. Then a pain you got, a suffering you have. Then you have to face difficult situations in the hospital. When the doctors conduct surgeries, when you go for an operation, then you are called a patient, then what do you have to do there? You have to practice patience. You have to tolerate all the treatments because you have to recover your best health again and come back to normal situations in the life. Then you have to tolerate what they do. Your pain you have to tolerate. You have to pass by this difficult situation. You have to go through that time. Without practicing the patient as a patient, if you try to do something harmful to your life to end up the life, what happened? Can you live? Can you continue your life? Cannot. So, once a person becomes a sick person, also he is known as a patient because he or she has to tolerate. Tolerate. On the other hand, patient is appreciated as a quality or ability that all the humans should practice. Because tolerance is a skill, very important ability we all should have, that is called Khanti in Buddhism. Khanti in Buddhism. In Sanskrit that is called Shanti. In Sinhala that is called Shanti. Shanti become Khanti in Pali. That means the tolerance, forgiveness, practice of the patience. On the other hand, you can introduce this term or the meaning in the sense of non-hatred, non-anger. As a wholesome action or condition in the mind. That is a remarkable teaching in Buddhism also because of its influence that you get in the attainment of the Nibbana. If you don't have this ability, definitely you cannot attain the Nibbana. You have to practice that. That's why Khanti has been defined as one of the 10 perfections that should be completed by all the humans in order to attain the Nibbana. So that comes as a sixth perfection from the 10 perfections, Dasaparamita. In addition to that, This has been taught in different places in Buddhism. Have you heard about the king of the gods, God Sakka? So he was a human being earlier. In previous life, he was living in India. His name was Magga. Young man Magga observed sevenfold factors. Among the sevenfold factors, the seventh one is patience, Khanti. In addition to that, the famous discourse that you always recite as Mangala Sutta, the Mangala Sutta brings our attention to this factor in its stanzas. Khanti ja sova chassata samananancha dassana. Have you heard that? Yes, you might have. Khanti ja sova chassata. Khanti means in that stanza practice of the patience as a blissful matter or an auspicious matter or auspicious sign the Buddha has introduced that brings the happiness into your life, into anyone's life. Out of these three places, we can see Khanti in another name among the four sublime factors. Metta, Karuna, Upekka. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. Here, Metta and Karuna both are considered as the early stages of practice of patience. Metta leads to practice patience. Karuna means another stage. Mudita is also another stage. Upekka means equally treat everything, everyone, then you can have an ability to tolerate everything. Like that, we can have different places in Buddhism regarding the teaching of the patience. So, Karunupaya Kosalla Pariggahitam Satta Sankaraparadam Sahanam Adosappadano Tadakara Pavattato Chittupado Khanti Paramita. I'll repeat it. Karunupaya Kosalla Pariggahitam Satta Sankaraparada Sahanan Adosappadano Tadakara Pavatto Chittupado Khanti Paramita. The term Khanti or the patience has been defined in Buddhist doctrine. What is the meaning of that? Karunupaya Kosalla Pariggahitam. Karunupaya means loving kindness, or else you can take the compassionate or the patience or tolerance. Then Kosalla Pariggahitam, tolerance of the crimes. Tolerance of the crimes. When we say crimes, behind we can understand the meaning pain, difficult, bad situation. There are lots of reasons to understand the situations that we have to practice tolerance. Then tolerance of the crimes and aversion. With what? With strategies. Kosalla Pariggahitam means strategies. So, tolerance of the crimes and evasion with strategies and the mental states that have arisen without hatred with those criminal situations. If you practice tolerance, if you tolerate them, that is called Khanti in Buddhism. Practice of Khanti, perfection. According to this definition, brothers and sisters, you need to understand there can be situations which bring the crimes. Crimes means all kinds of suffering situation, painful situations. Sometimes that is because of jealousy, that is because of anger, that is because of loss in loving kindness, or whatever difficult times. You can have different difficult times, incidents. Sometimes you have to associate with the people who bring lots of problem, create a problematic situation. So behind all the scenes we got the pain inside the mentality. Sometimes not the mental suffering, but also we get physical suffering as well. Physical suffering as well. When you travel by using the public transport, sometimes some guys get into the bus and they just troubleless, they don't know how to behave properly without being troubles to other passengers, but they provide different types of problematic situations. Their behaviors are problematic, but we have to tolerate. There are lots of incidents, situations, positions. All those has been defined as crimes. When we have such situations from the external society, without getting angry, could you understand? Without getting angry, with strategies. I'll come to the word strategies. Strategies are also sometimes the tips that you use to avoid the problematic situation but not damaging the others. You should think, I get angry because of this situation. I am thinking of replying to this person, but I think again and again, if I do this thing, this bad thing will happen to me, that will cause me to have a bad result spiritually. Sometimes that will cause me to stay in sansaric life. Sometimes I will have to go to the underworld or the hell. I'll be reborn in a bad place. Like that you may think. Because of that, strategically you think about your spiritual damage. If you take an action against the situation, then having thought like that, with those criminal situations, with those crimes, you just cultivate the loving kindness in your mind. I drop it. This matter I tolerate. You don't cultivate even the hatred as well. Even the hatred as well. then if there is a place in your mind in order to raise such noble, loving thoughts without getting anger, and if you can deal with strategically with those criminal situations, that tolerance, that situations of the tolerating everything, that is called Khanti in Buddhism, patient in Buddhism. That's the definition. If you practice this, so you will have to meet different types of situations. Depending on that, on those situations, you can fulfill the perfections of patience as well, tolerance as well, Khanti paramita as well. So the practice of the patience, actually that is a noble quality in this sense when we examine. So it has been appreciated even by the Lord Buddhas, even by the individual Buddhas, even by the great Arahants and the noble people or noble beings. So that is a human quality, a noble human quality. When the sufferings, problems, difficulties, pains, when they come to us, but you don't misunderstand. You think there are some incidents in our life when the sufferings, when the difficulties, problems, pains, when they come to us, okay, I'll tolerate all these things. You just think and you tolerate. But you know, you don't try to abstain from all those difficulties. You don't find any way of to be free from all those difficulties. That means without finding to overcome all those pain or the difficulties or any other issue, what you do, okay, I practice tolerance, I just let them come and go. You are silent, then you experience the bitter experiences of those things. Sometimes you continue, then you think I practice tolerance. Is it correct? That is not defined as the patience. That is defined as the ignorance. Such people are ignorant. If the problems come, if the difficulties come, or the issues of pain, suffering come, we have to tolerate, but we need to practice or find out the ways or treatments to overcome the issues. For an example, you got certain type of sickness. Now you think, I went to the doctors, I have to get so many tablets. I don't like to use the tablets and drink medication. So I don't want to see the doctor. I think this fever or this disease, this sickness will disappear in few days, 3 or 4 days. What do? You stay in the home, you stay at home and just suffer a lot without taking medication. Is that tolerance? Is that the practice of tolerance? Is that patience? That's not patience. That is not defined as patience in Buddhism. Totally it is defined as the ignorance. So you need to meet the doctor while you are practicing the patient and take the medication and find the strategies with loving kindness to abstain from those difficulties. That is the part of the patience, practice of the patience in Buddhism. That is called tolerance. Why Buddha and all other noble people appreciate such type of a patience? Because when they fulfill their 10 perfections, if they didn't find any strategic ways with their intelligence, wisdom, in order to remove all the difficulties, in order to abstain from all those problematic situations, they cannot attain the Nibbana. They cannot become the Buddha. They cannot become the individual Buddha. They cannot become the Arahants. So they did a lot of efforts with loving kindness towards others and themselves while they practice the tolerance. That is what they could become the Buddhas, individual Buddhas, great Arahants and the great noble people. You cannot forget such situations. Then, such a quality, as such a quality we have to practice the tolerance, patience, without letting your mind to change your good qualities. You know, you are practicing something good. While you are practicing something good, some tolerance. We have to think of the tolerance. Let's say like this. Maybe you are donating different items to the people who are needed. Then, while you are donating, the external parties, some external parties can feel jealous of you and also jealous of the receiver. It can happen. Then they can approach to you, hey brother, hey sister, don't give like that. You waste your money. They can say. If not, they can say in different way. Do you know, after receiving your donation, what they do? Or they sold them and drink alcohol, or they sold them and just buy these things. They don't properly use. They will do something bad. So don't give to them. Something can happen like that. People can approach and try to change you. Then you have to tolerate. If you accept that, having accepted, okay, brother, sister, I also have to think like that, what I donate, I don't know what they do for those donations. If you think after leaving what happened to them, you have no peaceful mind, then no patience. Sometimes you are donating. You don't want to nature of the receiver, but you earn the positive energies. Then what happened? That people can change your mind and then you will stop donating or practice of dana or generosity. Then because of something bad, you stop your good works or meritorious deeds, that means you have no patience. If you have a patience, you just tolerate. I don't care who receives, who is the receiver, what they do after receiving my donation, but I do my good works. From my good works, I earn something good, and the positive energies or the meritorious energies, you can define it as the wholesome energies. So that is up to me. You may tolerate the wordings or different stories that come from the external parties, but you don't stop your good work and you continue. Then that is called the patience in Buddhism. There are different situations that we drop the practice of patience in a life. The Buddha has highlighted those situations simply in a way that we can understand. Kathancha bhikkhave bhikkhu kanta hoti. The Buddha addresses the monks and asks, monks, what is the practice of patience? What is patience? Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu kamo hoti. Monks, practice of the patience is the Khanti. Tolerance is the Khanti. Patience is tolerance. Tolerance is patience. Sometimes forgiveness. Sitassa unhassa jigacchaya. Some people can stop the good works because of the cool time, weather, whether it is hot or cool. When they cannot work, sometimes they drop the practice of spiritual developments. Then that means they have no patience. Jigacchaya. Some people, due to hunger, when they feel hungry without having enough food, they don't like to continue their good works. Pipasaya. Sometimes without water or any other drinks. Then dansa makasa vatatapa sirinsapa sampassana. Some people wouldn't do any good works because of the mosquitoes and other insects that trouble. If you are going to meditate, nowadays there is a practice. The people try to use the mosquito net for the meditation. Even in the jungle, they hang the mosquito net, go inside, then they practice meditation. How do you understand this situation? How do you understand or recognize this situation? Is it good? Are you thinking that is lesson of patience? Any idea from the audience? Because later on I don't want to get questions. It's good. Indeed.
Just like what we are doing here. Why you make this spiritual life?
Yeah.
In the marketplace,
Yeah.
and you teach your Dhamma.
Very good. Because I said if there are troubles from those insects, you may practice tolerance without damaging their life. But instead you become strategic. No hatred towards them. Instead you use strategies. Then that is good. No any intention with hatred, anger. You just let them go anywhere. You don't damage their life. You practice tolerance. Instead, to stop this trouble, you use a strategy. That's good. To overcome the issue. But when we don't have such facilities, sometimes we have to practice the tolerance in a sense. Maybe you think you are listening to the Dhamma talk, so the mosquitoes come and bite you. You just get up. I cannot listen to the Dhamma talk. The place is very stubborn because of the mosquitoes. I go back. Then temporarily, you would stop. The problem of the mosquitoes or the insects or serpents as well. Then you lost your patience. You lost your patience. Because of that, you cannot learn the new things from the Dhamma and you trouble yourself in developing the spiritual path. In developing a spiritual path. For an example, if you think, no, that cannot happen. If you think like that, just imagine a normal situation in the examination hall. You are going to sit for an examination, then question papers are given while you are writing the answers to the questions. Maybe mosquitoes or any insects come and bite you. Then what do you do? If you raise from the seat and go back, I don't want to write the examination because of this trouble, how do you pass the exam? So you have to tolerate that situation. You have to practice patience in that situation. Then practice of the patience we have to continue without considering the situation. But later on you need to find out the new ways to overcome. Perhaps after the examination, when the next exam is coming, you can suggest to find a good place. Like that, you have to be strategic and innovative without damaging others. There was a story in Sri Lanka. We had Dhamma Dana series earlier in Sri Lanka in different names. One of the Dhamma Dana series is Arahants Dhamma Desana. There all the monks, even the monks also attend to listen to the Dhamma. When we conduct the Dhamma talks, there is no criteria, only lay people should attend. No such a criteria. Monks also should attend because they also should learn the Dhamma. All the poor disciples should attend. The monks also attended. While a monk was listening to the Dhamma talk, a serpent came and he has bitten the monk. Then he saw the poison goes to his body. Now he thought, if I take this serpent and shout, the people would be disturbed to listen to the Dhamma. So if I stand from here also, it will be a trouble for all of us. Now he is in a critical condition, critical situation. Then he determined, no, I'll never get up or stand from the point, from this place until the sermon is over. Until the sermon is over, I will tolerate. Then he took the serpent from his head and put into a bag and covered. Then he just concentrate what the Dhamma speaker says, and at the end of the Dhamma talk, he concentrate what the speaker said. At the end, what happened? He attained the Nibbana. He received the high spiritual achievements. Once he attained the Nibbana, what happened? The poisons that has gone into his body came out from the place where the serpent has bitten. Then after the Dhamma talk, he just called all the monks. This happened to me, this is this serpent, he showed. At this case, the monks question, if you have met such a bad incident while you have been bitten by a serpent, why you were silent, how you tolerated that? Why did you behave like that? Then he said, Dhamma is more important than these normal incidents. So, Dhamma is more important, patience is more important. If I didn't tolerate it, now I couldn't get the Nibbana. I couldn't attain the Nibbana. So I attained the Nibbana because of my tolerance. So we have to dedicate in such a way in the life in order to practice the patience and attain the Nibbana. Sometimes I'll ask, there are different situations. I'll ask one question. If something bad happened, maybe we think, you can imagine someone blames us, someone can put blames on us, they can blame us. Then why do you practice tolerance? You receive blames from someone, the person is so politically powerful, economically powerful, religiously powerful, educationally powerful. Because of a certain reason, he can be powerful. Then you are not having the things that he or she has. So you are the weaker person, he is the stronger person. Because of that, do you tolerate? Do you tolerate? Yes. So you become the weaker, that person become the stronger man. Even though you tolerate without telling or doing anything against that person, what happened? An anger, a feeling of anger will rise in your mind against the person. You will keep it in memory. But you think, sometimes there are some similar people. You are friends, you got the similar similar situation, designation, or equal situation, everything equally. So both you are in the same class. Something bad happened, so you need to blame that person. Then the person will tolerate. Sometimes you want to blame, but you don't tolerate without blame. Why? You know both are equal. The other party also will treat you in the same way. If you blame, that person also will blame. So because of the reaction, you know the reaction, because of that you just tolerate. Is it tolerance? Is it practice of tolerance? Is it good way of the practice of patience? No, not good. Because earlier you practiced tolerance because you are unable to do anything against that person because of your weaker situation. This time you don't tolerate, you don't practice anything, you tolerate because you know the reaction from the equal person. But you think you are more stronger. You are having lots of money, lots of power, lots of physical strength, religious power, social power, everything you have. You are the powerful. But maybe a beggar, maybe a normal person, ordinary person, comes to you and blame you, insult you, criticize you in front of the public. Do you tolerate? If you tolerate like that, what happens? Is it good or bad? Complaint is never mind, but if you tolerate, that is the good point, because you have everything if you can harm that person. But without damaging that person, while you are having the ability to damage, you just practice tolerance without misusing your power. Could you understand? Then that person, in that point, if you practice tolerance, that is appreciated. That is the human quality. You are strong, but you never use your power. So you become a noble person. As you said, then you can listen to their voice and what they raise, then you can solve the problem using your power as a strategy to solve the problem and bring the happiness into both parties. Could you understand? Then, because of lack of the food, because of the external disturbance like the animals, if you practice like that, that is good. Not only that, people can insult. There was a story about two monks. One monk was preaching the Dhamma. Then when he was preaching the Dhamma, he just taught the correct Dhamma. While he was teaching, the people understood his Dhamma. People began to pay respect and provide the requisites as well. Then one of the monks who were observing that, he felt jealous of that and began to criticize that venerable Dhamma speaker, saying that he is talking about nonsense. Then after the Dhamma talk, both were traveling on the same way. While the traveling also, that monks, face to face, the Dhamma speaker was criticized. Then he never said anything. Now, in the villages, it was famous that venerable is criticizing this Dhamma speaker. Then he never said anything. He never said anything. On the way, they came to the junction, they depart each other into different direction. At this moment, this Dhamma speaker remind that venerable sir, this is your path, this is my path. If we treat like that for someone, if we treat someone like that, what happens as a gratitude? At least we say thank. That venerable, without telling thanks also, just continued his criticism. After that Dhamma speaker came to the temple, his own temple. Then the people began to question him, why are you silent? While he and his group, he is criticizing you, insulting you, blaming you. Why are you silent? What was the reply? silence, remain silence with the patience or the tolerance, that is the inheritance of the monks. If the monks inherit something, that inheritance is known as the patience or the tolerance and forgiveness. So, my inheritance as a noble quality is the practice of the patience. That's why I don't want to tell anything. That's my meditative method. That was the reaction of that Dhamma speaker. While the people are insulting, while the people are putting blames on you, if you get anger, if you become sad, that is not the tolerance. You just understand and practice. Don't say anything against such people. If you don't want to happen the same thing again and again, just try to avoid the association and the places, or not to visit the places such people are. That is the strategy. Just away from those crowd. We have to be strategic in that way. That's the way of the practice of the tolerance in Buddhism. Therefore, because of hunger or lack of food, because of the external animals, external people, we don't stop the tolerance. We don't stop the practice of the tolerance. We continue the practice of the tolerance or the patience. That's a noble quality in that way. You know, in some discourses, there are some examples. In Kakachupama Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, there is a good example. Kakachupama means having taken, the saw that the carpenters used to break the wooden items, the saw. Kaka means the Pali word for saw. Then Upama means having taken as the example. Some people can take you and put somewhere and they can use the saw to break your bodily parts. While they are breaking your or cutting your bodily parts by using a saw, at that moment also, if you can practice loving kindness towards them without getting anger, in such a painful situation, if you can practice loving kindness towards them without getting anger, that is called the noble patient, tolerance, forgiveness. You know Venerable Punna. Venerable Punna was an Arahant during the time of the Buddha. Then once he approached to the Lord Buddha and said to him, Dear Blessed One, I would like to visit Sunaparanta. Sunaparanta is a place or village or continent where the bad people live. They easily get angry, damage the people. Then the Buddha asks, how can you spend the life there? Their people are very cruel. If they slap you, if they hit you, if they blame you, what do you think? Then Venerable Punna replied to the Buddha, Dear Venerable Sir, even though they blame me, they don't hit me. So they are good. Then again Buddha questioned, Venerable Punna, if they hit you, then he said, they are good. Even though they hit, they don't break my legs or bodily parts. Then the Buddha asked, if they break your bodily parts, they are good. Even though they break my bodily parts, they don't cut my bodily parts. Then if they cut your bodily parts, they are good, because even though they cut my bodily parts, they don't kill me. If they kill you, dear Blessed One, people find different people or different strategies to kill their life, end up the life. Finding murders. Maybe they will find a murderer or killer or many other strategies, but I don't want to find anyone. They come to me and kill me. Then the Buddha understood the level of the practice of the tolerance and the level of the giving forgiveness and patience of Venerable Punna. Then he recommended him, okay, now you can go to the Sunaparanta and stay there, because you don't engage in any trouble, you don't go to fight with them, you practice tolerance and forgiveness. Then they will understand. That is called Punnovada, instructions by the Venerable Punna. In Jataka stories, in Chaddanta Jataka, as I can remember, the Buddha as a Bodhisattva, he had been born as a great elephant. Once, he was damaged by using the arrow by a person who was behind him in a hidden place. Then this Bodhisattva elephant looked around, who is troubling me? Then he found and asked, why are you troubling to me? Then he said, I am so sorry. The spouse of our king want to take your tusker. That's why. Then he willingly accepted his words and let him to cut his 2 tuskers, and he donated. That is the patience. If not, this big elephant can destroy the man in one shot. Being a powerful person, but spread the loving kindness towards the weaker person. Not only that, when the Buddha was practicing 10 perfections in one life, he was a great ascetic. And he was known for the practice of the tolerance throughout the country. Because of his reputation, the king decided to test him. He came, he threw saliva at his face, he was silent, he practiced tolerance. At the end, king decided to cut down the bodily parts of the ascetic. After cutting down, the blood oozes from his body. And he never said anything. Then one of the noble person came and asked, why are you practicing patience? Then he said, patient is my inheritance. That is my practice. I don't want to raise any evil thoughts against the king. May the king be well and happy. He said and he died. That is the important place. Sometimes some people, when they trouble us using their power or whatever, we don't disturb them because the ascetic is higher than the king because of his spiritual achievements. So he became the Buddha later. The king, after the death, he has gone into the underworld or the hell because of the bad karma. So the practice of tolerance can be in three types according to the Buddha's teaching. When we conclude all those things, maybe because of the love for the craving for our wealthy and healthy conditions, wealth, richness, and the love for the children or the wife or any other relatives, and because of the inability to tolerate the incidents that arise from the external parties, such as the troubles from the serpents, animals, mosquitoes, if they tolerate them, that is called the perfections of first category of the perfections of the practice of the tolerance, Khanti paramita. Secondly, you know the story of Venerable Chakkupala. He was blind because of his huge practices due to attainment of the Nibbana. Then while practicing sometimes the noble qualities like meditation or whatever, maybe we practice generosity, observance of the sila, and some religious practices, virtuous practices, we physically sometimes feel painful. We physically get some disease or sicknesses because of our practice. If we have such things, because of our noble practices, if we become sick, if we tolerate that, that is the second category of the practice of the tolerance. That is higher than the first category. Not only that, as I said, just like the ascetic in the Shantivadi Jataka story, if we can tolerate even though if we got damages to our body or life, if we tolerate something very important, that means very noble. Just like the reverend who has been bitten by the serpent, if we can tolerate anything because of our spiritual achievement with loving kindness, that is called the Paramartha, or the highest category of the practice of the patience. In that way, brothers and sisters, if we practice the loving kindness without anger, without hatred, without jealousy, if we practice or tolerate without expecting nothing in return. Some people tolerate some situations because of their future advantages, expecting something. But in this case, we tolerate expecting nothing in return, but just tolerate everything in order to save our noble quality, practice of the patient. In that sense, if you practice the noble quality, patience, that would be the greatest thing. So it will be a way of fulfilling your requirement as a perfection to attain the Nibbana as well. Thank you very much. Any question so far? Is it clear?
Bhante, I just want to ask real situation, how to use your patient strategy. Okay? This case is happened, somebody back do something bad, right?
Yes.
But blame you. Yeah? For example, where you say, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble, but this guy accuse you, you're drunk, you come to the office, which is not true. Okay? And they also breach the law, Malaysian law, which is we call private data information. So these people use private data to do business, right? And then I complained to the authority, right? The authority said, yeah, I'll take action. After that, they said no case because not enough evidence. Now I am now in this situation. Should I tolerate? It's already 1 year. Or should I go to the anti-corruption? I'll let you answer it. All right, Bhante?
Can you repeat the question in simple way? Because
Okay.
I need to understand the content of the question.
Okay. This guy cheat me, but blame me, and even call me, I have dementia. You know, dementia, I forget things, getting old. See, and even blame I was drunk to go to the office, which is untrue. So I reported to the authority. The authority promised me to take action, right? According to their rules. I'm a patient already 1 year, right? But this authority changed their mind. They say there's no evidence. I know something is wrong. There is either corruption or there is abuse of power. All right? So I'm patient for 1 year. Now, what should I do using your patient strategy? This one more step I can do, I can report to the anti-corruption. They will all get a lot of problem. So should I patient not to report to anti-corruption?
That's your question. So, not only that for you, but also other people also can have the same experiences. Even in case of myself also. When we understand we got cheated by someone, we try to complain to the higher authorities who can control the person as a way of strategy. But the solutions do not come to us. So we think we tolerated, we practice person, now enough, 1 more year, 1 more year, 1 more month, some more time, we patience, no fair answer. So in that case, what do you have to understand? If you have used a fair way of conveying the message, I knew that you have cheated me, I complain to the people, they don't take an action. Then what is the reason? So in that case also you have to practice patience because they all are corrupted. They don't want to answer your questions. They go, if you go into legal section, anti-corruptions, legally if you can teach something, that's better. Because the law and order they have been produced and created in order to save something good. But in that case, you have to find out enough evidences. But you just think after that, if the person is more stronger than you, economically, politically, religiously, sometimes, especially in Asian countries, law and order can be changed. If you feel stronger than them, you just try to teach a good lesson not to do that, but not to cultivate hatred. Hmm? Yeah, justice, dedication of the time for the justice should be with patience. Just let the time to solve the problem. Just take a huge breathe and think of a way to do that without damaging yourself and without damaging them. So don't feel now time is okay, I took much time. If you think like that, now you think I am out of patience because I continued patient for a life, for a long time. If you feel like that, that is the point that you must tolerate. Could you understand? Because of any illegal things, because of any wrong practices, because of immoral behaviors, unethical behaviors, we don't want to disturb the practice of our noble qualities.
But they hurt a lot of people, not only me.
Hmm?
They hurt a lot of people, not only me.
Then you try to avoid the association and be far away from those people. If you think they hurt lots of people, they damage me, and if you try to take an action against those people on behalf of those, so you have to be strategic. But your intention should not contain the anger.
No anger.
Then it's okay.
If I keep quiet, he is polluting the environment. Polluting.
Then you just take the legal action.
No, if I do anti-corruption, then finish. If I don't do it, continue.
Anti-corruption, so whatever things that have been the law, the rules or regulation have been prepared by the country or the government, you follow the government theory. But your intention should be not to damage personally and without anger, just to save and let the people live in a good environment. If it's your practice, if you control yourself in getting anger against taking personal anger, that's all.
I didn't tell you one thing. I go there and tell them they resign. You know that?
So at this moment I understand what happened to you. Just you have absorbed everything as Mayovan, you are losing patience. So just think about the situation, what you can do peacefully and happily with strategies, without anger. So if you have a law and order, government have introduced the rules and regulations, if there is a pathway to follow, following that pathway is not problem. But you don't take it as a mental burden. But you then how to treat them means you have to tolerate. If you try to, people are different. That's why the serpent, once he has eaten the leg of the venerable, if the venerable killed him, what happened? Not the bad karma. You are collecting something bad. Even we have the life threats as well. Life threats as well. In that case also we have to tolerate. Though racism, corruptions, even they were during the time of the Buddha. So, what is corrupted, what is racism or ethnic issues, so whatever things, you have a limit, but you can clean yourself. Patience is a practice to clean yourself, not to others.
But I don't take the action if I say, I feel guilty.
Yes, if you feel guilty, just you think of your noble qualities. If you take an action, sometimes that will happen to cause negatively that person's life. What happened? Your solutions, that is not based on the patients. I just instructed how to develop persons as a spiritual quality, not to take the solutions in front of the existing problem, but you should know how to withdraw your mind. Withdraw your mind from the situation. From the situations. Even there are some. That's why I just introduced the example from the Kakachupama Sutta. People can cut your legs, even the bodily part using saw. At this moment also, if you can practice the loving kindness towards them, that is the greatest noble quality. Patience. But with taking something as a burden, if you try to find out how to tolerate that, even though we get more illustrations, we cannot understand, because you have to remove that problem from the mentality first. Okay, let us wind up the session for today, because I have to go for Dana as well. By the power of these merits, through listening to the Dhamma, may you be well and happy. May you find peace, happiness, harmony, unity in your life. Try to tame yourself. Try to control yourself. Even Venerable Devadatta troubled the Buddha a lot in different strategies. But the Buddha, even he got damage for his leg. The solutions after that, if the leg was damaged, meeting the doctor and treating the leg. Not to go in after Venerable Devadatta, do something against him. Having become a powerful person, he never instructed to introduce new rules or anything against Venerable Devadatta, but he kept him away. At the end, he understood. So that's how the noble people we have to behave as a practitioner of the patience of the noble quality. In that way, we will continue the practice of the noble quality. May you be well and happy. May all the departed ones in your family receive these merits. May they attain Nibbana. May all the divine beings receive these merits. May they attain Nibbana. May all the beings be well and happy. May all the beings be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Say sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu.